Shalom family. I did a video almost 2 years ago, my conversation with a Syrian refugee from Aleppo. Well, since that time, me and this person, we've been communicating a lot. This person taught me a lot of things, and I taught this person a lot of things, and we learn from each other. You wonder how, I'm so involved. You wonder how and again, when this person show me something or reveal something to me, I don't take their word. I check behind the person to find out if this is true. Well, again, we've been in contact the entire time, and right now, as of this point, this person has went back into Syria, and it's the fighting in Syria has subsided some, and there's some refugees that's going back. Some of the places are safer, and the person asked me about going back, and I mentioned there's still a lot more fighting going on, and it's a lot more that's going to take place. But long story short, this is an update to what's going on in Syria. Now, the person is back over there, and now I'm only in contact through email. So that's what I want to do here. I want to share with you what's going on in Syria from this person's perspective, being on the ground. Now, I'm going to read some of the email that was sent to me, and I'm going to be selective. I have to skip around to leave out anything personal. As you know, the fighting over there, it continues, and we get news reports, and we don't know, we can't trust all the news report that we get. Okay, the conversation. All right, the person said the flight was good. They had a good trip, and but when they left from the airport, they had to do a lot of driving, and it was a lot of stops, inspections, and a lot of inspections. They had to check for ID, and of course, damage everywhere. You can see the damage everywhere from all the fighting. It's just a tremendous amount of fighting. Okay, when they got home, someone was staying in their home. Their home was okay. The people that were staying in the home, their home was destroyed. Okay, the person is saying life is far much better than before. So before they left, it was worse than what it is now. What they're saying, it is better, still fighting, but the life there is better from when they left. And I mentioned it's a bit early to go back. There's still problems, and I said it personally. If it was me, I wouldn't go. Watch this. There is water most of the time. The little things we take for granted. There is water most of the time. And electricity is available for 10 hours a day. In this particular family, they said when the electricity goes out, they do have a generator. And the internet is so slow. They're saying the internet is so slow. There are bombs everywhere, thrown by some armed gangs who named themselves the Free Army. However, watch this. However, people here are psychologically and mentally dead. The people are psychologically and mentally dead. They're seeing death. They're seeing death every day, and they don't know when they're going to die. And they're losing loved ones after the other. They're losing loved ones, and they have no idea when is it their turn. When is it their turn? So imagine people fighting in a war, and after, coming back home from fighting the war, that these people be messed up. So we're seeing regular people, seeing the fighting, seeing people dying, their loved ones dying. Okay, to the next one. All right, the next email. Life in Damascus is completely safe. Of course, they went through Damascus. They stayed there a little while. Life in the life in Damascus is completely safe. No bombs, no warplanes, no fighting, nothing. But in Aleppo, We always hear awful fighting between the Free Army and the regime army. A week ago, a rocket smashed in front of my cousin's home, and their neighbor's child passed away. That rocket was fired by the Free Army without any notice. Anyway, watch this. People are getting used to seeing the blood everywhere. Once you see this, you will see the blood. You will see people dying. You kind of get used to it. This is what you call being desensitized. They become desensitized, and they're getting used to the people dying. What an awful feeling this is. In one place, we see people crying over their loved ones because they're killed by the Free Army. Why? In another place, we see people dancing and celebrating weddings and graduation parties. So their people, they drive on one part of the city, they're seen crying and moaning, and they're holding their loved ones. There's death. And in another place, they're celebrating, they're getting married, they're trying to live normal lives, but they cannot live normal lives. And the person saying, contradiction everywhere. I blame no one, because people want by all means to get out from the war. Free Army are paid to keep the fire and the war alive, no matter how many innocents are going to be killed. And here's a good point here. In Aleppo, you hardly ever can see a young man, because their families force them to travel abroad in order to not to be taken in the army for service. Does that not sound like 2nd Ezra, what I just gave in the other video? 2nd Ezra 16, 26 and 27. I've shared many scriptures with her, but I never shared this with her. For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. This is just a preview of what's coming, and it's on a very small scale, dealing in Syria only. She also, let me show you these pictures. She sent some pictures here. I'm gonna let this play through so you can see. Most of the men are staying home because some of the men, they're staying home. There's no jobs. They're actually hiding. They're running, they're leaving the city so they don't have to go and fight in the war. They know if they stay, they're going to have to fight in the war. So this is what they're doing, the ones that can leave. Okay, then they go on with some personal information, personal questions. All right, the next email. Okay, here in Syria, most of the people and after the war have no time to think or meditate or do anything that can take them out of the appalling conditions they are having. They are just occupied with trivial issues like how to get water, electricity, and food. These are the things they are concerned about. How to get water, how to get food, how to get electricity. And while the rest of the world, what she's saying, while the rest of the world goes on and learning new things, doing new things, they are occupied with these little things. These things are big to them. What's little to us, big to them. Yes, she's saying people all over the world discovering new things, trying new experiences, while we get happy to have necessities of life. They're happy to have necessities of life. This is what the person is saying. Okay, again, the life there is not, it's not what they want. It's not, as the person is saying, their bombs continuing to go off everywhere, and it's not a good life. It's not a life you want to live. No jobs. There are no jobs. The contradiction of the people celebrating, having a good time. This is what they're seeing. And then the other side of the city, they're holding their loved ones because they're dying, and it's an awful life right now. The basic necessities of life, they are pretty much, they feel like this is what we need to survive right now. And we take these things for granted because we have them every day. There is a tremendous amount of fighting that's still going on over there, and the people are feeling it. Of course, I had questions, and the person saying, if I have any questions, let her know. She will answer those questions. But we have a person on the ground in Syria, and this person can answer our questions. If you have questions that you would like to know, you can drop it in the comment section, and I will get it to this person and get you the answer to the questions that you have. But it's good to have people that we know over there to know what's going on, because the news will not, portray everything. And this person, we had a very good friendship. One of the nicest people I've ever met. This is something. Yes, the person is Muslim, but we can learn something from them. They can learn from us, and we can learn from them. We can't shut our ears up, not understanding their language, and just say, oh, they're this and they're that, because, that's what they say about us. We're this and we're that because of a few others. But again, one of the nicest people I've ever met, and pretty much, we can't put everybody in the same boat, in the same situation. That's not true at all. These are some of the misconceptions. Example of something she taught me, and I questioned the person. I said, they mentioned Abraham being a Muslim, and I said, how can that be? This religion didn't exist. And not knowing what this word, that's an Arabic word, not knowing what it meant. The person explained to me, Muslim means, in Arabic, is part of the language, one that submit to the Almighty. This is what it means. And so the person is saying he submitted, and he did. So according to their language, not a religion, their language, that's what it means. It means one that submit to the Almighty. People got this, how people speak ignorance when it comes to the word, the Arabic word Allah, and have no idea when they said Allah is the moon God. Now, they don't understand Arabic. This is a huge problem, and they're speaking in ignorance. They connect Allah to Islam, and that's a tragic mistake, not realizing that's part of their language. The Christians that believe in JC, yes, JC. I see JC on the cars over here. Some of the cars you will see JC on the cars. They still say Allah. Why? Because that's the word for the Almighty. That's the word that they refer to as the Almighty, Allah. And we know in Abri, Allahim, Allah, but we don't know Abri. And if you don't know Abri, these things will be puzzling and confusing to you. So this is why we need to study. We need to study for ourselves. Stop believing what others are saying. We so many times we open our mouth and we just speak ignorance. The next video I'm about to do, I have a lot of questions about the calendar, and so I'm going to touch on the feast days in the calendar, so that those that have this question, they will understand, they will know and understand. But what you do, listen, we're all in the Most High's hand. What you do, let it be for you and your family. This is for you and your family. And all of us are in a different situation. Some of us are within the borders. Some of us are not within the borders. So we have different situations. So we have to do accordingly, according to our situation. Shalom.